Hello everyone and welcome back to Batmania. I am Captain Logan.
And I'm Eric.
And Eric and I have just 3 movies left to do commentaries on. It's bittersweet. We're so close. We're so close to the end, and this has been a really fun experience for us. And this Mania thing, I think, has turned out to be one of the most fun things that we've come up with to do.
Yeah.
It's a crazy marathon. You know, there's days where it's like, oh man, more Batman, but then you get into it. You know, it's always exciting to go back to things that you haven't gone to in a long time, or to talk about things that you've looked at recently but haven't gone back to the whole catalog, because now it's all fresh in my brain. Today, Eric and I are going to watch and talk about Batman vs. Two-Face, which we've both seen exactly one time, and which I'm sure I'm not going to remember a whole lot about. Hopefully a bunch of it comes back to me as we're talking about it. So, I don't know, I wish we were watching this after I had time to watch it 3 or 4 times, because I really liked this, of course, and it's either really close or just as good.
I remember liking it a little bit better.
To Cape Crusaders.
But thinking it had more actual, like, issues.
Yeah, interesting.
So...
Well, and I think I might be saying that just because Cape Crusaders blindsided me and had so many references to the original show that was really easy to do a commentary on. Weirdly, it ended up being way easier for me than the Lego Batman movie for some reason. And I think a lot of it was just, there were so many things I could pick out and point out knowing that show as well as I do. This, I don't know if I'm going to have that as much, because it's more of a tight-knit narrative, and it's a little bit less about being a tribute to the history of Batman.
I think that's why I like it a little bit more. And also, Two-Face is a way better villain than the other ones. None of the other ones are bad, but they're all just, we're doing those villains that you remember. Here we're getting a new villain, and Shatner's amazing.
Yeah, and 460s Batman, he has some dimension.
Yeah, yeah.
So that's good.
Also,
460s Batman.
Also, we'll get to King Tut.
Yeah, because King Tut is wonderful. That whole thing was great. So, anyway, if you want to watch it with us, and we recommend that you do, get out your DVD, your Blu-ray, however you want to watch it. If you bought this set, you could watch it 3 different possible ways, Blu-ray, DVD, or digital. Get it past all the menus to timestamp 0, and get ready to press play whenever I say now. Can you guys see the lenticular? Does it... I keep putting this up into the screen, trying to make it not... you know, get blinded out by the light, and then I'm like, oh, it's lenticular. Anyway,
but it's not a moving lenticular, right? It's just kind of like,
yeah, Batman just kind of bounces back and forth. Yeah, no, I guess it's not. I don't know what the point is of that actually, if they're not actually moving.
It's just like holographic. I guess maybe it's a little 3D. I don't know.
Yeah, but it's still the same like effect. It's the same process.
Yeah. Yeah, it's just not...
Because you can tell
the picture
there's
doesn't change.
2 things that... I mean, it goes back and forth between the same image, basically, is what it does.
Yeah, that's weird.
I don't know why they do that.
I think it's supposed to look 3D. I think that's what it's supposed to be.
Oh.
I think.
Okay. Well, anyway.
You wouldn't know. You've never seen 3D. You don't know what that looks like.
It's impossible for me to
know. It looks kind of like that.
Look, you need to stop making fun of my handicap, all right? Here we go. If you want to watch it with us, get ready to press play as soon as I say now. And we're going to do that right this very moment. Everybody, please press play right now.
Unfortunately, this is probably one of the ones people will not own.
I think so too, just because it's so recent, and as we keep complaining about, is a thing that a lot of people didn't even know about. I'm hoping this commentary isn't a lot of people's first even finding out about it, although I certainly talked about it when it was first announced.
Is this the only one that we'll have covered on the Omnibus?
Real quick, sorry, yeah, I think so.
Because I think Batman Harley was
wow. Is this late enough we started the Omnibus?
I think so.
You're absolutely right, yeah.
I think it's the first Omnibus.
One of the things we complained about with the last one was that it didn't have an announcer voice, and this brought back the announcer voice, and he's doing a decent dozer.
Yeah. Also, when we first watched this, we were like, oh, it's really cool. They're picking up right where they left off, you know, with the last one. She fell down a flume stack. It's actually not. It's just picking up at a status quo where she's in prison.
That's right. Yep. But that's not them being inconsistent, because that's how they always handle Catwoman.
No, I'm not saying it's inconsistent. I'm saying
just for the an audience that might not be aware of that. That's not Eric's not complaining about that.
No, I'm just saying when we first watched, we're like, oh, it's like a direct continuation. It's not. It's not any more than those episodes were.
Yeah. Well, we're going to get a montage here pretty soon where we go through the history of Batman dealing with Harvey Dent and Two-Face.
Yeah.
I thought Robin's lips were a little bit weird in that
Why
shot.
would he bring Robin?
Maybe they have more rounds to make. They're doing other things than just Batman coming here. But you're right. You do sort of get the sense in V's that Batman never leaves without Robin, except for when he's duplicated and turned into a crazy person.
Yeah, and there's Hugo Strange, which I was excited to see.
See, I knew there was somebody that was a newer villain. Yeah. Because remember, I thought they did this, and you didn't remember it yet, because that's Harley Quinn too.
Yeah.
That's right. I knew they did that. Yeah, because see, this is well in the past.
Yes. Oh, yes.
See, it's not just that it's not right where it left off, it's that this is before the last movie. This is a flashback at the opening.
Right.
Because this is gonna be right before our montage of Batman fighting Two-Face over the credits, which is pretty cool. So Hugo Strange is in the comics, Harley Quinn is in the comics, and this is all stuff where they're looking heavily at that material and basically just pulling it straight from there.
Two-Face is in the comics.
Yeah.
But this is not his comic book origin.
It's not.
Because it's the Harlan Ellison script, and that's not what he did.
Right. Yeah, they start with this thing so that they can make this a running story thread.
Yeah.
Throughout this evil extractor thing. Which is a thing I could have seen the TV show doing.
Yeah.
The evil extractor.
No, that seems like maybe the plot for if they actually did a sequel to Batman the movie.
Yeah, where he would also be in Little Guns and.
But why did you bring it out and flip it now?
Because it's going to be important to his character later, and we have to introduce it in some way.
Oh. That's the only nod they get to that, right?
What's that now?
Him winking at her? That's the only nod? Because she's not going to become Harley Quinn in this movie.
I
also like that it's not just the four. Catwoman's not there, and Mr. Freeze is.
Yeah, and you would expect that. And which version of Mr. Freeze is this, or is
the
it
white
just
one
kind of
with
generic? Okay, so that's the Otto Preminger one, I think. Because the first one... So, the Otto Preminger one is the one everybody knows. That's the one that says Wild. I talked about that last time. And the third one, I don't remember at all. He was real unmemorable. The first one is my favorite, who's actually really cold and is the closest thing in that show that you get to the Batman animated series version. And he actually has the full-blown helmet and everything. The Otto Preminger one is like this, if memory serves, where he doesn't have the dome.
Is the first one the one that has, like, the cold area of the room?
Yes.
So where's that? Okay, so I saw that episode as a kid, so that's the only Mr. Freeze I know.
Yeah.
Also,
it's just Otto Preminger is a major actor that people know, and so that's the one people remember.
Joker just nodded Harley, so Harley's in on this?
Yes. I forgot all about that.
Me too.
I forgot she was here. That's really cool.
I thought it was just a throwaway, like, reference. Oh, that cat's here, too. So she's going to be responsible, but she's not going to be Harley Quinn.
I'm glad that this guy... Right. I'm glad that this guy coming back and voicing the Joker got to do this one more time for a minute. And I think there was every expectation that... I mean, I think they had every intention, if this did well, to keep making them. If Adam West hadn't passed away.
Is even if he didn't pass away, given that no one seems to know this came out, I'm not sure we would have gotten more.
It's really sad. And these, I mean, they're so well animated.
I know.
Just look at it; it looks so good.
They make all the DC movies, or all the recent DC movies, look really bad.
Yeah.
That was a great shot.
That shot is amazing. Yeah. And isn't it really sad? And this is not a dog on this movie, obviously, but isn't it really sad that this is the closest thing we've gotten to, like, a really good, solid, like, just solo Two-Face story on screen?
Yeah, you're right. That was fast.
When they announced this...
I haven't looked in the mirror or anything.
Oh, man, that's such a good teaser.
Yeah.
It's wonderful. Oh, this is cool. They're doing... I forgot about this. They're doing kind of the 60s movie opening thing on the wall. That's what that's an homage to.
Yeah, yeah.
Where it's that kind of noirish running across. That's great.
Yeah.
Where he shoots the logo. I'm reacting to this like it's the first time I've seen it, but
we saw it once when it came out.
I don't remember what all this does. Yeah, that's really cool. Driving across Catwoman. They should have done this kind of stuff. I mean, maybe it would have been more expensive to do, but it's too bad that the closing credits don't have some of this kind of stuff.
Yeah.
Where it's just the generic dancing around.
Yeah. I don't remember what the closing credits are for this one, though.
It's more of that.
Is it
it's
more
just
of that?
people dancing
That's
around.
unfortunate.
I think maybe even Two-Face dances around, but I can't remember.
And I really like their Two-Face design. He's very Golden Age Two-Face, and
yes.
I've never seen that animated. We've gotten away from that almost completely, and you said that's what they do in the comics.
That's exactly the design they use in that one shot, yeah. And when we say comics, he's only in the one shot that adapts to the Harlan Ellison script. They never bring him back.
Oh, interesting.
I don't believe. Although, I think, to be fair, I think there are a couple issues that I never got around to reading. I have all of it, but I don't think they ever bring him back. I really expected when they announced this that they were just going to adapt Harlan Ellison. It would have been hard to...
Because it's the great lost episode.
Yes. And the main reason that you do this is because we never got to see this character in that show, and of course most people aren't going to read that one shot. It's wonderful. Most people probably don't even know it exists. But I don't know how you stretch that to 75 minutes.
Yeah, because it was supposed to be a TV episode. It was literally written to be...
And I mean, to be fair, it still would have been a 2-part TV episode.
Yeah, that's true.
With a death trap in the middle, but that's still only 45 minutes. I've read that story.
Only half-hour episodes?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, you don't remember this.
That's
the
right,
brilliance of that show...
It's an hour-long show they split in half, yes.
Was it gets your regular TV order, but they split it apart and they put it 2 nights in a row. And that was a lot of why it was so popular. Was just that was such an unusual format, and people had to come back to see what happens. Once again, they play the silly stuff so straight, and what we get here that we didn't get much in the first movie is you've got a lot of what's played as legitimate drama that is just as absurd as what you usually get in the show, or as some of the outlandish, high-flying adventure stuff we did in the first movie. But the show does this kind of stuff where we play something for high drama when it's really just absurd and preposterous. So when he says assistant to the assistant district attorney, that's hilarious. But it's really easy to lose yourself in the moment and forget that's a joke.
And this is a plot line that we've done a couple of times with Two-Face, where we fix him. I think the first time we did that is Dark Knight Returns. But at some point he gets fixed, because in Hush he's fixed.
And of course, trying to legitimize the criminals and seeing them in denial over their madness is a big thing we do in Batman all the time.
Mm-hmm.
So... I give this guy doing King Tut, I don't know who he is, I can look him up. This guy doing King Tut, I give him huge mad props, and I think he has the hardest job of anybody. Because that is not an easy voice to go back and emulate.
Aren't there a couple? Yes, doesn't?
I think he does a great job.
Get to talk in this? You're like, he's kind of in the ballpark, but not exactly.
I don't remember, does he?
I can't remember. I feel like I have memories of you talking about someone doing Clock King where you're like, yeah, he's kind of doing the voice. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe that's just you talking about Clock King.
Can I throw out real quick my my complaint about special guest villains?
Oh, yes.
So
absolutely.
I have 2 that I want to lob at this. One of them is unfair. The first is, and I complain about this with the comics too, if you're gonna bring in a villain that we've never had before, you've got to base him on someone's likeness. And this does not do that with Hugo Strange or Harley Quinn or any of those characters. We do it with Two-Face with William Shatner, and if I'm not reading too far into it, I think they even in the face kind of try to make him look a little bit like Shatner, which I really appreciate. But my second complaint, and this one is legit, you don't make a 60s Batman episode without up front saying special guest villain William Shatner.
Especially when you're bringing a new villain.
And they didn't do that. It doesn't matter if it's new. They always did it.
Okay.
But yeah, it matters more for this because he's going to be one and done, and all the other villains were in the last one.
Mm-hmm.
So you're right about that. Familiarize yourself with the Bard. I have one of those now, and the Bat Phone. Yeah, his pole's still not bigger. What were you saying?
I was going to say the poles themselves are bigger though. Last week I feel like they were much skinnier.
And now we get into something I think is wonderfully hilarious. Stock footage!
Yep.
It's awesome! If you looked at this and you said, hey, wait a minute, you just took an entire sequence from your last movie so that you could save money and put it in this, you cannot complain, because it's 60s Batman and you're supposed to do that, and it's awesome. They give you the entire
this in every movie
same sequence, and it's such a good sequence that I really love that they reuse it. It's wonderful. You get all the doors, and that was in all the advertising for the first one. They didn't show you Gotham City 13 miles that time.
I do wonder what they would do for a third one that would... This and the previous one are not...
Once again, I don't know why they didn't just call them on the bat phone.
Yeah.
I don't know why they're using the bat signal here.
For the same reason
that looks great.
For the same reason it's a real city, I guess. Like, because they can.
Right, but we saw the bat phone. It's sitting right there. They have to use it sometimes. But when Sheeper Harris like, I wonder if they're going to show, I'm like, well, you could use the phone. Sorry.
This one and the previous one structurally are very different.
Yes.
And neither of these, I think, lend themselves to being a repeated pattern. So, like, 2 movies in, there's not a formula, and I wouldn't think a third one would have that either.
Isn't that neat? That's subversive, isn't it?
Yeah.
Like, this material, it was a really formulaic show. And that's part of what killed it, was that the joke got old.
Mm.
If you keep mixing up your format like this, and you keep surprising us with the way you're telling your stories, and you actually do some compelling storytelling, this could have had legs if it caught on.
Yeah, yeah.
There's no reason you couldn't have had 5 or 6 of these.
I agree.
But it goes without saying, you wouldn't want to see anybody try to replace Adam West.
No, no.
I'm not saying that somebody couldn't do it and it might not sound good. I mean, it's not blasphemy because it's not like we didn't do it with everybody else, but Adam West was the big selling point.
Yeah.
The big reason to do this was so that he would get one last hurrah and get to play. I guess he got 2 last hurrahs and get to play this part again.
Yeah.
And of course, we talked about this a lot when we first watched it. One of the things that was really neat about this was you made 2 movies. You knew right away that you were getting 2. They ordered 2 immediately, or they planned to immediately. And your second one is Two-Face.
Well, and also that your first one you did the big 4, and your second one you used some of the other rogues, and actually used them. Like obviously all the villains are in the end of the first one, but like we're doing King Tut, we're doing Two-Face. Like we're not just doing that again.
I could almost imagine this conversation, and I'm not saying this happened, this probably didn't happen, but I could almost imagine the conversation of, let's do a 60s Batman movie, what should we do with it? Let's do Two-Face. Oh, wait, can we get away with making 2, just so that Two-Face is in the second one?
Yep. We looked it up after recording the first video. Alfred is Steven Weber.
Yeah.
Who's the guy in iZombie.
Yeah, that's crazy.
And is also narrating the audiobook of it that I'm listening to, and he's amazing. He should stop acting and just be a narrator.
Wow.
Like he's...
Well, I don't agree with that. I think he's really good in iZombie.
I don't actually mean he should quit acting, but I think he's a wonderful narrator.
But forget what I said then, because I said, well, obviously it's a 70-year-old man. Yeah. No, it's not.
Yep.
There's the Batnet.
Is that a thing from the show?
I believe so.
That looks expensive.
That's some pretty expensive stuff. But I mean, if you could make a big plastic shield, you can make a big you can make a big net, you know.
Yeah, but a device that takes it out of the car?
I don't know if it came out of the car.
Okay. No, I buy they can make a bat net. It's that this is what I don't buy that they could do.
Yeah, I don't know if they had that, but but I love that it looks like something that could have been in that show.
Yeah.
I feel like there was a net, but I don't know if they used it to drop bad guys on.
Plutz.
Spatoosh. I feel like, and I mean, like, this goes without saying, I guess, I feel like I'll go back to these several times.
Oh, yeah.
I'm pretty sure they recorded the voices for these at the same time. I don't know, though. That's a King Tut thing. He likes to call people boobs a lot.
That's very 60s.
It's very 60s. And I like all the Egyptian stuff we're doing. I really like that King Tut gets as much screen time as he does.
Yeah.
And that at first, and this is the thing we do in the show a lot too, where we think that there's a villain, that the main villain that we're dealing with is the mastermind, and then it turns out somebody else is behind it.
Is that a thing we do in the show?
We do some, yeah. Especially when you have team up villain, when you have team ups. Or we have, I think we have episodes. Again, it's been a little while since I've been through that whole show. Freddy was a baby when I did that watch through the whole thing.
Wow.
But I'm pretty sure there's at least 1 or 2 times where we have where we think it's maybe one villain and then it turns out it's not them, or where they're guessing through a bunch of them and then they get to the one that it actually is. And we do one thing we do constantly in that show, and we always make a big joke out of how Batman and Robin figure out that this is what's going on, is we have a big caper that's just a distraction for a much bigger caper.
That happens in the first episode.
Yeah. And it's always really ludicrous how they put the clues together, of course, and figure out where the bad guy is really striking.
That's something I don't think we get a lot in either of these, is the puzzles, or the mystery, the riddles.
Yeah,
because everyone's the Riddler in that show.
Yeah, we haven't done a ton of that in this.
And we don't really do it in the first one, except for a couple of places where the Riddler... I think he just like, does riddles as jokes, like, he doesn't...
I think there's one or two token places where Batman's like, oh, I know this thing is happening on this night. And,
yeah.
But they don't make the whole plot based on that kind of thing, because they're actually more sophisticated than that.
Yeah.
And I think they walk that line really well. So do you think... Oh, I'm sorry, I must talk about this.
Sure.
So when King Tut showed up, the first thing I said... Do you remember this? The first thing I said to you was, I wonder if they will remember that when you hit Tut on the head, he goes back to the college professor. And they do that, and not only do they do that, but a little bit later, we're going to have a scene where they do it over and over again in a courtroom to go back and forth between the personalities, and that's hysterical.
No, it's the interrogation room.
Oh, is that where it is?
Yeah.
Oh, that's right. And also, oh no, we do a funny thing with we do a funny thing, if memory serves, with King Tut in the courtroom too, or is it Two-Face? I forget.
Well, it's because Harvey basically arguing that he's responsible for everything that King Tut does because he feels he's responsible for everything Two-Face did.
That's right, yeah. And I actually have a weird ethical question with that, and then start wondering if I'm thinking too hard about it. It's really nice of them not to make that part of his face is in shadow, because we always do that with Two-Face.
But we've already seen him as Two-Face. Usually it's a foreshadowing thing that would be weird to do after post Two-Face.
That's true, but I think the reason to put him in shadow like that is to make you, is just because he's mysterious and you're wondering what's in the eyes that are being highlighted. This mystery is pretty decent, and then the payoff is as goofy as you would hope for. And is really satisfying, I think, on both levels. But yeah, I also thought it was kind of genius to character parallel King Tut with Two-Face.
Mm-hmm.
Because they're both a multiple personality thing.
Yep.
And the question with both of them is, are they really responsible for anything they do?
For some reason, it feels more cut and dry with King Tut to me. Because there's no war between the personalities like there is with Two-Face.
No, you're right. It is
one person becomes another person.
No, it's unconscionable and inhumane to ever put King Tut in prison. Especially because it's, I guess, maybe a little bit violent and potentially dangerous to your brain, but just hit him on the head and you're done. Like, so let's go ahead and talk about Shatner.
He's amazing.
That was a brilliant choice.
Yep.
And I was actually really surprised they thought of it. Besides just the fact that he's Shatner, it's really cool that they went to a guest villain that was around then, and if he hadn't had his own show, would have almost certainly been in that show.
Oh, yes.
Keep in mind that Batman and Star Trek run the same number of years concurrently with each other, 66 to 69. And remember how many actors cross between those shows. Newmar and Merriweather are both in Star Trek, and there's a bunch of crossover with actors that show up as well. And of course, Gorshin is in a much beloved Star Trek episode,
right.
And he's Commissioner Beale in the episode with the white side, black side, and it's Let There Be Your Last Battlefield. And
is this woman cross-examining, or the woman examining, whatever it's called? Is she the Merriweather person?
Yes, that's Merriweather.
Okay.
Chief O'Hara's an idiot. I think I think the judge is maybe a recurring character. I can't remember.
Do we go to court often in that show?
I think he might be like some other public servant that is the judge. I can't remember. So, what's amazing about Shatner is that he sounds 40 years younger.
Yeah, he does. He sounds like what... Not exactly, obviously, but he sounds in the ballpark of what he would have sounded like if he was on the show when it was on.
I think it's real close. And like I said, I don't know if you know how big Shatner was in TV before he got Star Trek, but he was everywhere, and he was very popular. And I'm telling you, if he hadn't gotten Captain Kirk, he would have been in the show. And I think the same is true of Nimoy. I think Nimoy would have likely been in that show somewhere.
Who would you have cast them as?
I knew you were going to ask me that. Put me on the spot like that. I should have never said anything. Well, Shatner I would have cast as Two-Face, but
Nimoy could have been Hugo Strange.
But beyond that, oh yeah, that would be, well, yeah, but like they I don't think they would have ever thought to go to that character. Like, I know he's in the first issue, but he hadn't appeared in a long time. Like, well, but to be fair, they resurrect the Riddler. Remember, the Riddler is popular because of that show. And I get the sense that Dozier went back and did his homework. So, no, that's not fair. I mean, like, it's not that hard to just pull out the first issue. Yep. If you have access to it.
Yep.
So maybe they would have done that.
Well, it's not the first issue. First issue's Riddler. Or, I mean, the first issue one of Batman's Joker.
Well, yeah, but I thought it was...
Hugo Strange is in the first 12 issues that Batman appears in Detective Comics, and he's in the first year.
Oh, okay.
I'm pretty sure. I might... If I remember correctly, issue 1 of Batman is a Joker story, a Catwoman story, and a second Joker story. That's what I remembered,
but I changed it in my head because you kept saying first appearance, and I thought I was wrong, and that there was a story I was missing in that first issue.
No?
Okay, alright. I never knew what you were talking about with that, but first year, okay.
First year, yeah, he appears in the first year of Batman.
Because I've never looked at his first appearance. I mean, like, I've seen a panel. I know kind of what he looks like then, but...
Two-parter, or it's just 2 stories back to back.
Okay,
both him,
alright.
But, yeah, it's in that first year.
Because a lot of those early Golden Age issues have, like, multiple short stories in them. And I thought maybe... Because I have a collection that has the Joker part of it, but I don't know if it has the whole issue, and I thought maybe I was remembering it wrong and Hugo Strange is in that.
No, as I recall, it's a Joker story, a Catwoman story, and then another Joker story, but I might be wrong. But no, his first appearance is like 30, 31.
Oh, see? They called him.
Yeah.
So I don't know why you would ever use the bat signal. The only reason you'd use the bat signal is if you tried the phone at home, and then you tried the car phone, and he never picks up either of those. And in the background is his closed circuit TV, but I don't know why it's open, because there's a wall panel that goes over it.
Bookworm is in this.
Oh yeah, and no, he's got a voice.
Yeah,
and he's not great.
That's what I thought. Serves. See, I told you I remembered you saying something about Bookworm.
Yeah.
Oh, it's just Bookworm, not.
He's sort of like a little bit of a reinvention.
Not. I said Clock King earlier.
You said Clock King.
It's Bookworm.
That's
Bookworm
right.
That's
yeah.
the villain in this.
I love the Bookworm episode because there's a big giant book in the middle of the road that they have to stop and then go in and then open and read. It's great. Oh, and you know what? We didn't do a lot of giant stuff in the first movie. I guess we did the TV dinner, but this has the giant pool table, and that's awesome.
Yes. I think King Tut is...
it's all coming back to me.
I'm pretty sure King Tut is the only 60s original villain to be adapted into the comics.
Where was he adapted?
He is in Batman Confidential.
Is he really?
Yeah.
I didn't know that. I've wanted to see King Tut show up for years.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure he shows up in, like, an arc in Batman Confidential.
Wow. Tale of Two Cities, that's great. I like that this time we actually incorporated some more villains in the story rather than just having them all be background and cameo characters.
Mm-hmm.
Or just, like, you know, all showing up as a big gang.
Yeah. Yeah, because we kind of do a King Tut plot and the
irreplaceable rare books vault.
We should get one of those.
We should. It could be the irreplaceable rare comic vault.
Yeah, yeah. Why is the vault
Yeah,
arranged...
he's doing a totally different thing, if memory serves. Now, it's been a while since I've seen that episode, but it seems like a different thing. Now, Batman does the... And I guess in animation, I can see why you would want to do this more, but he does the cast the bat symbol on the wall thing way more often than Adam West did.
He does it, like, every time he enters a room.
Every time. He did it some in the show, not nearly this... Anyway, I'm sorry. You were going to...
No, just, why is the inside of the vault organized like a bookstore?
or like a library.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is great. I love these henchmen. I'm glad that we get some henchmen for some of these villains. And isn't it impressive that Two-Face doesn't get shafted for this?
Yeah.
You don't feel like he's missing for too much of the movie, or that you don't get enough characterization for him, partly because it's this material and he's not going to be super well-defined, or, you know... It's a library.
Okay, well, two things. Okay, so one, there's 14th century manuscripts, and I like that they have enough that are all from the 14th century.
Yeah.
But also...
yeah, that's funny.
There's a comic spinner rack, which is winking and nodding, but in the 60s... that wouldn't be there, and also they wouldn't be worth anything.
It wouldn't
that
be.
much
It
yet.
wouldn't be priceless. Yeah, you'll give them that though.
Sure. First book ever written.
I didn't remember that. But yeah, I think having other villains that are part of this whole scheme helps kind of to deepen the mystery a little bit, and like Two-Face ends up feeling like an almost larger than life presence.
And you don't have to stretch a 60s characterization of a Batman villain across 80 minutes.
That helps a lot, which is why they probably felt the need to do teams or multiple villains every time. But I really like that this isn't the exact same, like you said, formula of the last movie where it's a team of villains. This is more of one villain that's hired a bunch of villains. Before it's a real, you know, team like the underground. I always forget what they call that from the '60s Batman movie. The United Underworld. The United Underworld. Because and I wish they called themselves that last movie, but that's what it was. They just brought back the United Underworld.
Yep.
Yeah, but like first time I watched this, I'm legitimately going, okay, this is really cool. Like, I know Two-Face is going to turn out to, like, Harvey Dent is going to turn out to still be Two-Face, but he doesn't have his face. How does that work?
And yeah, and you don't know how he's doing it. And when they get there, it's crazy.
And it works.
Yep.
It's really cool.
I'm also glad that this is not the version that appeared.
Abandoned Sign Factory. The sign is for an abandoned sign factory.
I'm glad that this isn't. That Two-Face didn't appear in the 60s and was this. Oh, you see him right there, and they've got Harvey in shadow, but...
Yeah, but it's like the plot thickens, because we're going to see him constantly without the face, and so, like, the thing is, we've seen this with some other Batman things, and there's some different answers to it, so I'm kind of rolling through ideas where I'm like, okay, is he covering the other side because... he's pretending like he's Harvey Dent, but it's actually a full like scary face, because we've done that before.
Well, your big thing when we were watching was that you thought they were going to bring back the duplicator ray.
I thought it was the duplicator ray, and I was really glad it wasn't. And at first I was like, well, that'd be really cool for the sake of continuity, but I was really glad they didn't go there when we find out ultimately what it is. Which I guess we're not going to talk about, and we're sort of keeping us... Because I expect some people might actually watch this with us and have not seen this before. We don't usually worry about spoilers. I don't think we should even talk about it until we get there. That's fun.
I haven't,
It's like Thing 1 and Thing 2.
I'm glad that we didn't, that this is not what Two-Face was in the 60s, because this would be a Two-Face I don't think you'd be able to get away from. I don't think ever again Two-Face would be the scarred, not never again, but I think this would become the version that's most commonly used. If this was what was in the show.
Oh, you think so?
I think
we just wouldn't do it with scars?
Or it would be...
that didn't stop us from doing it with the Joker.
Well, not the scars, but the way it can come and go. I think that would be I think that would be a thing that would just forevermore be part of Two-Face.
You think so?
I think so.
Where, like, he can wipe it away?
Yeah.
Okay. Again, that's not how we would have done it.
No.
Because, I mean, even in that show, because that wasn't Harlan Ellison's take on it.
Yeah. What is Harlan Ellison's take on it?
I haven't read it in a long time.
Okay.
I remember snippets of it, but I don't remember what exactly he does with it. It's pretty classic Two-Face. He's just obsessed with the number 2. Like, I don't know if there is really a split personality, or if they just sort of talk about it like that, but they don't really show you both sides of it. It's been a while since I've read that. I honestly don't remember. The main thing I remember about it is that that script is too grandiose for them to have been able to shoot, which is why they scrapped it. It has every Bat vehicle they ever did.
And they couldn't adjust it, because he would spend the next 30 years yelling about how they ruined his screenplay.
I'm going to disagree with you, man. I think he sounds exactly like he would have sounded back then. I don't know how he does it, but man, he takes his voice right back to 25 or 30. And like I'm not giving Adam West crap for not being able to do that, because like your voice changes in different ways and your body changes in different ways, but like and here's one of the reasons I was so excited about Shatner giving this performance. He redeemed himself for phoning in the entire series of Batman the Animated, or of Star Trek the Animated Series in '73.
Yeah, but he was in a different place, and that's
horrible.
It's not the same level of quality of this.
Oh no, it's not. Well, that's the thing, is most of the scripts weren't great, and nobody that worked on that seemed to really appreciate, really like the production that much. He really phoned it in, and I think
that's fun.
I don't think he went. Yeah, and I think they do that on the show sometimes. I can't remember, but yeah, he. If memory serves, I don't think he recorded that in the studio. Like I think he literally phoned in that performance. I don't remember. It might be one of those things where like he just recorded it in a bathroom somewhere or something. That might not be true, or maybe there were some episodes that were like that and others weren't. It's a rumor I heard. I don't know if I'm right about it.
That is the Highlander has an opening monologue by Sean Connery, and he actually recorded it from his bathroom over the phone, and so it has this echo, and that's just the natural echo of his bathroom.
Well, and isn't that how, not a bathroom, but isn't a phone performance, or recording remotely anyway, how we got the, how we got something from Boba Fett in, like, the remasters for Star Wars? I heard that at one point.
I don't know about that.
See, this deep in the mystery and confuses you and makes you wonder what exactly is going on.
Yeah.
Where he's talking to Two-Face over the phone, and yes, it could maybe be in his mind, but last movie we duplicated people, and
Hugo Strange has come back.
Well, yeah, because he's still dealing with his
Oh, that's
weapon.
right, because he's gonna steal the thing from him. I forgot.
Yeah.
I forgot that. Well, I forgot that Hugo Strange came back.
And Shatner does a really good sinister Two-Face voice, but it's kind of subtle. Like I've heard a lot of Two-Face voices that sound like a completely different person. I like that it's still Shatner.
Mm.
I don't mean that you would cast somebody else. I like that he's not laying on the growl too hard. Like it really sounds like an angry version of his Harvey Dent, and in exactly the same way as I think Adam West could have voiced a serious Batman, I think Shatner obviously could have voiced a really good serious Two-Face.
Yeah.
It's really unusual to have Batman and Robin at odds, and that's an immediate tell last movie that something wrong is going on with Batman. So you're wondering right away with this if it's something like that again, and ultimately it turns out that it is.
Well, he's just emotionally compromised.
Is this not the beginning of his turning into Two-Face,
into
Robin version of Two-Face? That's what I'm saying.
No.
Aren't they at odds, or aren't they starting to get at odds because Robin's going to go weird?
No.
Or is this not related to that at all?
No, they're at odds because Robin's like, it has to be Harvey Dent. It's obviously Harvey Dent. I don't know how, but it is.
Yeah,
Batman's
that's
like,
right. That's right.
And
that's
it's
right.
Batman's friend, so he's like, no, that's not what it is.
Yeah, that's really unusual. I don't know if the show would have gone there to give us that kind of tension between those characters. Again, I like that these get more sophisticated than the show without losing the spirit of that show.
Mm-hmm.
Which is why I think a lot of people would be able to stomach and digest these that didn't like the 60s Batman if they would give them a try.
Yeah, I agree.
I think there's a lot here for Batman fans that don't like the 60s show.
No loitering. And
There's
also no gum chewing.
There's obviously more here for me than for those people. And later on, I don't want to spoil it yet. There's just because I want to talk about when we get there. There's a reference to one of my favorite things that I think a good percentage of the audience is not going to appreciate and pick up on. I think you know what I'm talking about. This is really clever. And I really expected them to go...
super crooks, bro.
Yeah, but you gotta have that, and remember, they called them super crooks in the show, and they called them that in the '60s movie when Gordon says to his closed circuit TV, bring up any super criminals that are at large.
Her name is something that we thought was going to be a joke, and they never make a joke of it. It's like Lucy.
Oh, really?
Sky or something. Remember, we were like, "Oh, they're going to make a joke about that," and they never do.
No, and that was really, it was Lucy Diamonds, I think. It was something like that, and I thought that was really clever because no, it is a joke because William Shatner did his rendition of Lucy in the Sky with diamonds,
famously,
and he's gone. But we thought with that and with the Merryweather thing I'm about to bring up that they were going to go way too far with those. And they're as subtle as you could possibly be.
Yep.
And that, I don't know, I think that was really classy. So they put Merryweather in the Catwoman costume so that Newmar can do the standard Catwoman pretending to be somebody else thing. And it works perfectly. And I thought they would bring Merryweather back and they would do some kind of like double Catwoman thing. They never do that.
Nope. She just thinks she looks real good in the Catwoman costume.
The character that Merryweather, yeah, it's great. Well, I think it's fun. It's like, you look enough like me. I'll put the suit on. That's great. So it's a wonderful nod to that without Merryweather having to voice a Catwoman and still being able to use Newmar because they have Newmar. I might have done a second version of Catwoman. Just for the beginning. I think it might have been fun if the second movie we went to just a different Catwoman.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm really glad that they got Merryweather in one of these. Especially since we're only going to have the two. And I don't know if this was intentional, and I know I've mentioned this before, but in case people haven't heard me talk about this, it's also really fun that they put her in the movie where we prominently feature King Tut, because the other role Merryweather played, the only time she was in the series proper, was as a girl that King Tut kidnaps. And I don't know if they did that intentionally, if they thought of it.
She was the prosecutor against King Tut.
Yeah. I want to think that was on purpose. I also think this guy doing Hugo Strange could be just doing a serious Hugo Strange.
Yeah. He's kind of doing Doc Ock, 90s Doc Ock.
I mean, yeah, it's a pretty stereotypical German voice. And 60s Batman would have made him German.
Yeah.
No doubt. The arrogance of youth. Alfred Kim. pretty sure that is not what that sign said in the series. So, if memory serves, your biggest complaint with this was what they do with Robin and Two-Face, or was it just his voice?
I have a problem with his voice. That it doesn't sound different enough from his regular Robin voice to me. And then he'd go to his regular Robin voice, I'm like, okay, I guess it does sound different. But, like, it just doesn't seem different to me, I think, was my issue. No. There's a huge plot hole, because Batman fixes him, but never fixes Two-Face.
Yeah, that's right. I forgot about that. It is, in its way, kind of unnerving when he turns his face and you first see that. That's really cool.
Yeah.
Do you have an issue with the fact that we did Evil Batman in the first movie and now we got to do Evil Robin in this movie, or does it work because it's a totally different thing?
Yeah, it just feels like it's natural to the story. I'd never even have thought of that. Or maybe I won't say never. I didn't think of that.
So once again, putting him in shadow like that, I think it's working that we don't know if there's like a Two-Face with a full Two-Face head. Well, because that's what I thought it was the whole time.
But there's been a couple of shots where he's clearly dead.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay. I think my frustration with this was that it was just that we didn't explore it longer. I mean, I realize it's this material, so we're not really exploring ideas real hard.
Yeah, like it's
much more than just in a fun, cartoony way, but yeah, it's not great. But I remember the first time I saw this anyway, kind of wishing that Robin stayed in Two-Face form longer. I can't say that he fixes him too easily, because everything's a plot device in the show.
No, that's fine. My issue with how easy he fixes him is why has he never done this to Two-Face?
Yeah.
Because that's going to be it.
Yeah, there needs to be a discussion about why that doesn't work with Two-Face, and that would be really easy to write out, especially because we write contrivances for everything in the show. That's part of the joke. All you have to do, and even for a more serious story in this universe, it's how you do it, right? Just consistency. All you have to do is say, well, he's had it a lot longer. It's too much of a part of his psyche. Even if, although, do they say this? Do they say even if we fixed his face, he'd still be that way in his brain because it's been that long? That's what they should have done.
No, because they do fix his face.
Yeah, they should have done that. But they don't fix his face with Batman's antidote, right? They fix it with surgery.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
Yeah, so that's weird. He can just bring him a pill.
Yeah.
And at the end of the movie, he can just bring him a pill.
Yeah.
But do they talk about it then? I forget.
I don't remember, because he does use that, I think, to coat the city. But I can't remember.
To coat the what?
To coat the city, because remember, everybody becomes Two-Face.
That's right.
Yeah, for those that aren't watching this and haven't seen this, Two-Face in this version is like essence of pure evil is sprayed onto him, and then he sprays it onto Robin, and Robin also becomes Two-Face. Well, he sprays him like all over, and it's still only the half?
Yeah, that's weird.
But this is amazing.
Yeah.
And if they could have, they would have done this in the 60s.
Absolutely. And this is the kind of thing I love, because it's easy to do an animation because it's on a budget, but if you had... but it's not impossible to do in real life. Mm-hmm. If you had a big enough budget, you could do this.
Yeah. No, it would be really cool if there was a pool hall that looked like this.
Yeah. And it looks like a 60s pool hall.
Yeah.
And of course it goes without saying, but you had a lot of this kind of stuff in the Golden Age and early Silver Age, and everybody brings up Dick Sprang when you look at stuff like this, and obviously you have a lot of people like Kevin Smith that like to come back and bring these kinds of things in, like with the giant typewriter.
Yeah, I don't actually know if Dick Sprang did this. I only know that academically. I've never personally read.
No, he did. Although we know other people did it because we saw some of it in the Englehart stuff that we read.
Well, but it's specifically, I think, calling back to that. I think it was like at like the Sprang Museum or something like that. Like, it was this very specific.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah. But Kevin Smith seems to be under the impression that Steve Englehart is the one who does that, because he always cites Steve Englehart as the person that he got the idea to do giant things
are we
from.
sure that was just a callback to Sprang?
I think so. Because it's only in that Deadshot issue.
Because, Morrison does it, too. And it's a museum when he does it.
But I'm pretty sure in the Englehart it's just... Like,
I forgot Joker gets to do his Joker voice. Okay, that was the Joker sting. Or at least it was reminiscent of it. Because I wasn't listening to it close enough when we were talking, so I don't know if the melody was exactly the same, but da-da-da-da-da, I think it was there. Yes, they brought him in, because that's the Penguin sting. So, they must be intentionally rectifying that. Ah, that's really cool. It's all there. That's a really good Riddler lair.
Yeah.
With the puzzle piece in the background?
Yeah.
That's awesome. I don't know if I needed another roll call for villains like we did last time.
Yeah, and if you made the third one, that would get tiresome.
That would get old, yeah. I get why you did it. Well, I would have understood more when you did it the first time if you didn't know if you were getting a second one, but knowing you're doing two, maybe save that for this. I actually don't know how necessary it was in the first one. I sort of want to...
No, it's fun that they have to get all the villains together to fight the army of evil Batman.
Right, yeah.
It makes more sense there than
it does here, yeah.
I think.
But I'm not going to complain that they gave a couple of the voices and did more stuff with them.
No, not at all.
I just don't need the roll call.
Yeah.
Well, that's unfortunate.
Yeah.
Okay, so I gotta check. Are we at the halfway point?
No, we're past it.
No, we're a little bit past the halfway point. Okay, so they didn't get their death trap right smack dab in the middle. This is one of the things that this gets right over the original '60s movie, which is it doesn't do the in the middle death trap.
Mm-hmm.
You have a couple of points where Batman's life is in peril, but it's never a straight up death trap where he's tied down to something and the bad guy leaves the room. We never do that in that movie, and I think it's bogged down a little bit because it doesn't go there. And so, but I didn't remember that we did the reveal this early.
I didn't either. I remember this being like near the end.
Yeah. And so it turns out that it's that the personality physically manifests, and when it's not there, Harvey Dent is fully in control.
Yep.
But I don't know what's happening when he's talking to it on the phone. I don't know what's going on, and I think that might be a little bit of a cheat even for this material. I don't know what's going on there, because it seems like Two-Face is only there when it's physically there, so maybe he can talk to him in his head, and that's just how that's manifesting. That's the only way I can see it.
Now hit him with the pellet that fixes
I don't need to pantomime a phone. Why am I pantomiming a phone?
Well, hit it right now. Hit it with the pellet that gets rid of Two-Face.
I can just do this.
But yeah, if he could manifest Two-Face like this in the '60s show, I think that would be a thing Two-Face would have forevermore.
That's interesting. Yeah, I didn't think of that. I may be wrong with what I said a minute ago. He is talking to himself back and forth, and it doesn't recede whenever he's Harvey Dent. So I guess I can't complain that the Two-Face personality is talking to him on the phone.
No, because later when he's all Two-Face, Harvey only talks when he's like Harvey's face comes out and then he talks. Oh. I don't think it makes sense that when he's all Harvey that Two-Face is still talking to him.
Okay.
Because I'm pretty sure later when he's all Two-Face, Harvey has to take over half of the face again to be able to talk.
Yeah.
I might be wrong, but I think.
One of the things I was a little bit concerned about at the beginning of this, when here it is, I wish they somehow could have gotten the rights to just use the music. But anyway, so I'm a big game show fan, as a lot of people know, and I love Match Game, and we've been watching a lot of Match Game lately, actually, my family and I. And William Shatner was a recurring, somewhat frequent guest on that show, and that's why they just straight up do Match Game here. And I would love to know the percentage of people that even know that. Because the thing is, it was a long time before I even knew that William Shatner was ever on Match Game. That strikes me as a really deep pull.
Yeah.
I don't mean Match Game is. Match Game was really popular, but just to do it because of Shatner?
Yeah.
That's pretty good, actually. No, the people putting this together were clearly the right people to make this.
Absolutely. But they're not all drunk, and so it feels like it's not Match Game.
That's true. That's true. There was a lot of drinking that went on in that show. You always have to have the tubes plugged into stuff.
Yeah. Well, how else would you get it?
Yeah, but they're always like see-through, and you can always see what's going through them, and I don't know. That's very 60s Batman.
Well, I think that actually makes sense, because you want to know the chemicals are flowing. I feel like we would do that.
That's true. It's just the absurdity of how long they are, and I don't know.
It's true.
This was another thing that we noticed when we were talking about this before, or maybe we retroactively were talking about it, Eric. That it's kind of interesting that we're bidding on this in a story with Hugo Strange in it.
Yeah, yeah.
Because Hugo Strange
in the Englehart
stuff auctions Batman's identity off to the highest bidder, or tries to.
And it's his only episode of the animated series.
And then we adapt that in the animated series and do that, yeah.
Do you think they would have had more fun with that character? That's his only episode.
Yeah. Well, I always thought it was a mistake to do that other random guy they made up for Cape and Cowl Conspiracy instead of Hugo Strange. And for the longest time, I remembered that wrong and thought that it was Hugo Strange doing that. That should have been a Hugo Strange episode. I've always thought.
Do you not remember what the Cape and Cowl Conspiracy
Cape and Cowl Conspiracy is the guy who is hired by, I think, Rupert Thorne to get Batman's cape and cowl, and he puts Batman through a bunch of perilous traps trying to force him to hand him the cape and cowl, and he doesn't even have to know what his identity is, he just needs the cape and cowl. And I
don't know.
When he finally hands it over,
I don't think I've seen this.
Wow, that was one I saw a lot when I was a kid. It's in first season. When he finally hands it over, he's put in this totally impossible to get out of trap, and Batman finally just takes off the cowl, and you think he's going to lose his identity, and he has a smaller mask on underneath it.
Like, that sounds familiar. Like, I think I saw it as a kid, but it doesn't. I thought I watched through all of season 1 because I.
Well, we should watch that at some point soon. It's one I like a lot. We'll watch it later. I also thought it was really refreshing, as much as I loved that first movie, this feels like a movie, obviously, in a much bigger scope kind of thing, but it's much more like just an episode of that show.
Mm-hmm.
I like that we're able to have a couple of these fights that aren't in massively grandiose locations.
Yeah. And we also don't have to have the literal camera tilt.
Yeah, that was funny, but...
No, it's fine. I just don't know if it makes sense in universe.
But we're not nearly as tongue-in-cheek in this about that stuff. This is playing much more straight, where they're just making a Batman episode.
Well, it feels like they probably they got all in their system. We don't have to do that every time. We got to do those jokes.
Which is why I wish this could be a TV show or something.
Yeah.
If they had ordered, I'm saying all this in hindsight, if that first movie had done really well, and they were about to put out the second, and they ordered like a 24 episode or a 12 episode first season for a TV show, I would have fainted. I would have lost my mind. And then, sadly, chances are Adam West would have passed before they could have recorded it all. But
then you would have fainted again.
Then I would have fainted again. Some folks might think I'm ridiculous. I just love this material so much, and it's really great that we got the Bat Cycle, and they didn't feel the need to monkey with it like they did the helicopter.
Yep.
And I can't see this scene without thinking about the Tick versus Alcide with the airplane and that, with the crop duster.
I was thinking of Batman Robin when they flash freeze like the whole all of Gotham.
Oh yeah,
it was like the dog and
it's actually a somewhat similar plot to this in that the crop duster is going to turn everybody into vegetable people.
This is weird, and I really like it because it's funny. Because it does it to the people on the movie screen.
Yeah, but that was going too far for me. Like, that's hilarious. That was going a little bit...
Is it too far for the 60s?
Yeah, it is.
Okay.
That...
Oh, and we should have had more fun with that.
Yeah. Because it's really funny. But Alcide, in that episode, he's trying to get the tick off of his crop duster. Do you remember that episode?
Yes, yeah.
And he goes, I paid for it for the whole day! That's pretty great. We have a lot of fun with the Two-Face people. So, he's just the lizard from Amazing Spider-Man?
Yeah.
Ah!
Except his plan works.
Yeah.
Lizard doesn't get that.
That's true.
He just gets a couple people in the lobby.
Yeah, but if Spider-Man was able to make an antidote this easy, we would have cried foul. Like, you can do that. That's the thing is, you can go all the way with villain plots because they're easily reversed.
Yeah.
There's the Bazooka again. That missile is kind of overkill, yeah?
Yeah.
Especially for how small that explosion is.
Yeah, and that's not the bazooka. Look how small it is.
What he's firing now?
No, that's what he picked up before.
It wasn't what he picked up before?
Yeah,
oh, wow,
no,
okay.
it's like
a blow dart. Weird. They look like giant missiles out of that tiny blow dart.
No, I don't know what's going on. If there's like a weird perspective thing, but like he's holding a tiny gun.
I do not buy that scale at all. So that is one thing that they sort of take from that script is they use a lot of the vehicles, but I don't think they get to the helicopter in this. Which is weird because they're up in the sky, but...
They have boot jets.
Yeah. That's crazy.
Is that too far?
I don't know. I mean, if you'd had a movie budget, I guess maybe you could have sort of made that look okay. I like that they wouldn't be able to, like, fly all over town with it. It seems like it just propels them up a little bit. I like that about it. It's not too far away from the boosters that Batman has for elevators. Do you know about that? Where there's an episode where he puts it, and it's the same technology I think that he uses in the Batcave for the reverse thrusters on the poles. Have you ever seen him do that?
Yes.
It was expensive to do, so they didn't do it very often. But they did it early. Where to go back up from the Batcave, there's a rocket, there's a propelling force underneath. He does that with an elevator at one point, where he has it in his car and he puts it underneath an elevator, and then he makes the elevator go up. So I guess it's not.
Why wouldn't they just reverse the footage of going up the bat pole?
Because you have to put all the smoke in it.
Okay.
And it wouldn't have looked as good.
Okay.
Plus, it just looks really cool.
Okay.
Well, no, you can't just reverse the footage because that would look kind of goofy. Because it would just be...
It's that show.
No, I know, but it would just be like I slid down, now I slid up. The idea is supposed to be we have a cool gadget that propels us up. It's a rocket. It shoots the fire.
But you said it was expensive. Like my first thought would be like, well, let's not do the rocket. Let's just reverse the footage.
Yeah.
Warning, incredibly volatile.
See, in the show, they of course wouldn't have played this the same way, and this is more dramatic, and I actually kind of like that they allow it to get more dramatic, and it's still silly, so I'm okay with it. But in the show, Batman would have had one line about no, he deserves the benefit of the doubt, Robin, and then Robin would have said, gosh, yes, you're right, Batman, and he would have never thought about it again. Could blow at any moment.
Yeah.
I just love how seriously all the characters are taking this and how much fun we're still having laughing at it. It's wonderful. No, I'm going to say it. This is better than the first one.
I think so.
I'm not as giddy about it because it's the second one, and you can only have that experience once. Because I didn't think they could put out a thing that would make me fall in love with that series all over again. But
I think the first one's a love letter to that series. This one...
Oh, he does take over completely. I forgot about that.
Is a bit more of... I don't know, I just think it works better as a story.
He does.
Even though I also don't think it's as tight a story because it has some plot holes that the first one doesn't have.
Now, the silly thing about Two-Face completely taking over his face is he's bad guy mask at the end of the mask, right?
Yeah.
Like, that's what he looks like, especially with the giant eyebrows.
Yeah. And his suit's all the color, too.
Oh, that's
because his suit changes with the...
I mean, it makes no sense, but it's cool.
No, it makes no sense.
This is a classic setting.
Yeah. It's a location you more expect for a Joker scene, but...
Yeah, sure.
It totally works. It feels big and epic in scale.
Ow.
But yeah, we're already at the ending. I don't know, this feels... It feels like it flows better than the first one.
And I kind of feel like, yeah, that movie, I don't want to say it overstays its welcome, but I know you felt like you were starting to tune out a little bit at the end. You're not having that with this, and that movie feels its length or longer. This I kind of feel like we just put in.
Yeah, yeah. It just kind of flies by.
It runs in a clip. That rhubarb is a little bit gruesome for 60s Batman, isn't it?
I mean, that's what it looks like.
Oh yeah, no, I know. It's just like just even the thought that he might try to impale Batman with that.
That's true.
Like,
I think he flipped it once and it came up and Batman clearly messed with his coin. He's like, let me try that again. Maybe only messed with the one side. Yeah, see, he has to come out on the other side for Harvey to talk.
Yeah, he's doing it now, but he didn't earlier. Earlier, he was just talking to himself back and forth like this.
Right. What I'm saying is, when he's all Two-Face, Harvey has to take over to talk. So if he was all Harvey, shouldn't Two-Face have to come out to talk? I'm talking about the phone thing. Like,
yeah.
Like, shouldn't Two-Face have to come out to talk? I think the phone might be cheating a little bit. Because Harvey has to come out to talk when he's all Two-Face, so how come when he's all Harvey, Two-Face doesn't have to come out to talk?
Yeah, I agree with that, but I'm also not sure that it's not a little bit inconsistent that he's... Well, I guess if they're both there,
yeah,
I guess that kind of makes sense. Okay, all right, that's cool. I'm with you now.
I'm sorry, Harvey. I don't trust that you're in control.
Yeah, so the phone thing was cheating.
Yeah,
even for this, that's kind of cheating.
Or you have to give us when he's all Harvey, or when he's all Two-Face, that Harvey's talking to him in his head.
And we don't have that.
Yeah.
And also, even if that did work, there's never a point where he is confused about what's actually going on, where, like, he knows that Two-Face is in his head. He doesn't think he's somewhere else calling him on the phone.
Mm-hmm.
Why would he talk on a phone?
Yeah, I don't know.
So that just doesn't make sense.
No. That's just for our benefit.
That's just for our benefit, so that we'll think that there's two of them.
Yeah.
I like this better than if there actually was two of them.
Yes, I agree.
Because if you did that, it's not an interesting psychology thing at all. I'm not saying that this really has me thinking about all that. But I'm just saying that, like, if it's just, well, I have been Harvey Dent all this time, and there's just been this other guy that is Two-Face, that's not that interesting. Like,
yeah. Well, I mean, I think you could do something with those two people interacting.
That's true. Well, and if it was a physical manifestation of his psyche, you know what you could have done, and this would have been a fun thing to do because it's Shatner. You could have played it like the TOS episode "The Enemy Within," where the two sides are split off, and Harvey Dent hasn't been functioning very well all these years without Two-Face, where he actually needs that personality for some reason. You could have done something with that. Now it's a plane.
In Englehart's second run, Dark Detective,
yeah,
Two-Face gets a clone made of himself that's unscarred. Because he wants a Harvey to be able to go out and be Harvey.
Oh, that's really cool. And that makes him really sympathetic.
And then,
he's like...
And then that clone gets scarred and he gets very angry. Well, the clone dies, but also gets scarred.
Now, if I were doing that, I would have him get scarred on the opposite side.
He might do that, I don't recall.
Gosh, yes. At least we got 8. Robin is a Call of Duty player.
We needed to do something with evil
Chief O'Hara.
Yeah, we don't do anything with him. It's kind of a bummer. We should.
Yeah, because the animation is hilarious. And he's like, ah, ha, ha, yeah.
Yeah.
It would have been really funny if we just cut to him and you had like Chief O'Hara arguing with Two-Face Chief O'Hara, where they're talking, where Two-Face Chief O'Hara is like berating him for being such an idiot or something.
I want him to be an incompetent evil person.
But I guess they're just evil. I guess they don't actually have multiple personalities.
Yeah, but he could be incompetent evil.
And that would be really funny.
And now we're gonna go to the once again the punchline like stinger joke that
doesn't really play. It's unfortunate. At least they're consistent.
Yep.
Too many lines on your face. Yeah, he should have been like the Amoeba Boys gang or something.
Yeah.
Just really incompetent evil.
Yeah.
And it's fun that this actually, ends on a happy ending and he gets to just be Harvey Dent.
Like evil Chief O'Hara should like put like the coin into the newspaper thing and just take all of the newspapers.
See that is how he would have ended that in a 60s episode to set up to bring him back later, where it's just he's very deep, but someday he might come back out. Because, again, that is what we always did with King Tide. I don't remember what the lame joke at the end is.
I don't either. I just remember it's lame.
See, they did try to make him look like Shatner.
Yeah.
Now, something we could have done here that I'm kind of glad we didn't do is we could have had a spoken word musical number really easily right here.
That's what should be over the credits.
No! I have the definitive answer. There's no way you don't agree with this. Over the credits? Oh, yeah, it's just Catwoman bids on Batman. Okay.
These are better dancing credits. Immediately better.
You know how I keep complaining that, or I don't even know if I said this on the last commentary, but you remember how I've complained to you that it would have been nice if we actually had some Batman vocals? It should have just been Shatner going, Batman. That should have been the credits. Should have been Shatner spoken word doing the Batman theme, just saying Batman over and over again.
Yeah.
That's what it should have been. I don't want to be conceited about it, but if anybody who worked on that movie happened to hear me, like, none of them will watch this, but if anybody heard me say that, they would go, man, we wish we'd thought of it, right? That would have been hilarious. See, we got Dancing Two-Face.
Yeah.
No, these are immediately better dancing credits.
Yeah.
Dancing Two-Face, he's dancing crazy.
Because we're actually doing things. It's not just the stagnant images like in the first one.
Yeah, that's great. No, that is actually kind of fun. I don't remember if this actually goes through the whole thing or not.
This is unacceptable, though.
What's that?
You cannot interrupt your credits. We just had, like, 30... Well, like, we had, like, 15, 20 seconds of, like, no credits rolling. The point is your credits are rolling. Also... Like,
it's kind of okay if you're giving us something that you really want us to see that's, like, really cool. Like, I can understand it then, but if it's just people dancing...
Yeah. You don't interrupt your credits.
That wasn't necessary.
No.
The zooming in and out is getting old.
Yeah.
And I don't need
they only animated so much. Like,
and I don't need Aunt Harriet dancing.
No, I don't either.
Well, yeah, but just because they only animated so much of it doesn't mean it needs to be doing this the whole time. Yeah. That has nothing to do with the length of the animation.
Well, I think because they played through all of them normally, and now so we have to do something so it feels different.
No, they did it from the beginning.
Oh,
yeah.
They've been doing that since the beginning?
Yeah, they don't do it when it's the picture-in-picture, but when it's off of this, they just go in and out like this.
Of all of the 6 people they could have animated, they animated Aunt
Harriet?
Why? It makes more sense if it's Alfred.
Well, they did Alfred.
Oh, did they do Alfred?
Yeah.
Okay.
They just haven't shown him as much for some reason. They should have done it with...
Because they won't stop doing it.
They should have done it with Chief O'Hara. That would have been really funny.
Commissioner Gordon.
Yeah. See, there's Alfred.
Yeah, there's Alfred.
Because Alfred took his apron and he was doing this with his apron.
Oh, was he doing that?
Yeah. See, he was doing that
there.
with his apron. Why do they keep doing that here? I don't understand
Yeah,
that.
I don't know.
Why didn't they animate more of the villains?
Yeah.
Like, give me a Bookworm, or, you know,
yeah,
why
it
do
should
that?
be King Tut and Bookworm. Should be the extra. Should be the other people.
Now, this is fun. This is really super 60s.
And this is fun
the
because we're at
psychedelic
the end
boxes.
of the credits.
Yeah, of course. But it just, you know, I want to dance. I should have done that. Just the whole credits. I should have just been dancing crazy.
Now, how do you feel about putting it at the end of the credits, as opposed to up front?
I like it
Okay.
because it's what you're left with. I mean, like, maybe I can see why you'd say like it's too much of a downer, like to be left with it. I don't guess I have too much of an opinion on it. I think it works okay.
Well, I
either
just
way.
traditionally see it at the beginning, and a lot of people I don't think are going to see that because they're not going to sit through all the credits.
Because they won't sit through the credits.
Which is
yeah.
why I think you put it up front. Normally, traditionally, I don't have an opinion. I'm just asking.
Sure, yeah. I really like how Beyond did it because they kind of stop everything and put it up on screen and then go to music and so I really like that. So maybe we should have done that here, but yeah, that's a bummer though. You know, obviously.
Yeah.
But like it's gonna be a bummer no matter where you put it. Like you could say, well, I don't know if like you want that to be the last thing you're thinking about it really, because you know that's what you're left with. But then that's also really respectful. But also you could make the argument, well, and I just mean with anything, you could make the argument, well, you put the dedication right before the credits, and then that's all you're thinking about through the credits when you were, you know, enjoying this movie and you're thinking about the movie you were enjoying. So I don't know. But anyway, man, that was really fun.
Yeah.
And that was surprisingly easy to talk through. There was there was a lot of stuff that I had completely forgotten about. That was a lot of fun to just. Oh yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
That's in there. So anyway, thanks for doing it with me.
Yeah.
I mean, thanks for doing all these with me, Eric. That was really super fun. And tomorrow, same bat time, same bat channel. We are gonna be tackling our second to last of these. And we're going to be doing movies we've never seen before. And the first of them, which I'm excited about, and both of these I've had a really hard time not putting in the player before we watch them. So once again, keep in mind, these will be blank commentaries.
So we will probably talk a little bit less.
We will probably talk a little bit less.
And we might miss things.
The first one, yeah, we're not gonna know everything. We'll get things wrong. The first of them is gonna be Batman: Brave and the Bold and Scooby Doo, which is crazy that this exists now. And the second one, which I have been so stoked to finally get to sit down and watch, is Gotham by Gaslight. Gotham by Gaslight, regardless of what it ends up being, I at least will definitely watch a second time and talk about it on the omnibus. But if it's great, I'm sure we'll both try to do that. And anyway, I guess we'll see you folks tomorrow. Thanks a lot. I'm Captain Logan.
I'm Eric.
See you then.